Hey guys, Lisa Salvatore here. Today is Saturday, July the 18th, and I'm here recording this video to talk about the energy surrounding this weekend and the new moon in Cancer that's coming up on Monday, July the 20th. This will actually be our second new moon in the sign of Cancer in a row, which does not typically happen. We have not had this in Cancer since 2009, I believe. And so this lunar cycle has been quite special. This is our first new moon / or full moon that has been uneclipsed in a little bit, because we had the eclipses beginning on June the 5th, and then we had another one on June 21st and another one on July 5th. So this is the first one that is uneclipsed. But because it's a Cancer new moon, and right now one of the most significant aspects, well, the most significant aspect that this new moon is making is an opposition to Saturn and Pluto. And Saturn is in Capricorn at the moment, which is the opposite sign of Cancer. So normally when we have when we have a new moon, the sun and the moon are conjunct each other in the sky. So they're together. They're both in Cancer. It means they're in the same sign. And it's a time when the energy is harmonizing and working really well together, and it lends to like a nice, good luck, optimistic vibe overall to get things moving and started. And energetically, it just feels like more like go, go, go. You can do more with that energy. And then around full moons, because the sun and the moon are in opposition to each other, that's when we release. That's all about release. And usually it's more tension. It's more of a tension, frictional aspect with an opposition, which is a full moon. Now, and heightened emotion and awareness. Now, like I said, because this is a new moon in Cancer and it's opposing Saturn, which is in Capricorn, and Capricorn is the opposite planet of Cancer, the opposite sign in the zodiac, it means that this new moon does also have a full moon edge. And I'm sure you've been feeling the buildup of energy this past week. There's been just like this heightened emotional state. There's been edginess, combativeness, sensitivity, hypersensitivity, sadness, depression, going back to our roots to kind of try to figure out, where do I begin to heal what I feel? Because a lot of things have been coming up for everybody. I know just from the people that I've been working with, myself, everybody's got a lot of stuff coming up. Karmically, things are coming into our awareness that the eclipse might have brought through, some epiphanies or some beginnings or some endings or a plot twist, right? And so everybody's dealing with significant changes, not only worldwide, but also personally. So what I also want to say about that, with the opposition to Saturn with this new moon, it's all about structure, and Pluto also, because the moon is opposing Pluto. So this is all about like reinventing the wheel, reinventing the structures, not just externally, because that's kind of out of our control at the moment, but internally it's about redefining our structures, redefining who we are, because with this new moon we've also got a Mars-Chiron conjunction. I spoke a lot about Chiron the past couple of weeks, and I've done a separate video on Chiron and the significance of that placement in one's birth chart. So if you want to know more about that, you can just click that link. It's also going to be below in the description box. But anyway, that's extremely significant because Chiron in Aries right now and Mars in Aries, and they're conjuncting each other. So this is about, it's like the identity wounds of who am I? Like, who am I? What do I want? Where am I going? Where have I been? It's all of that stuff. And Chiron is all about how we heal ourselves. So our wounds become our medicine, if that makes sense. Anyway, a whole nother video about that if you're more interested in the Chiron aspects. But that's also around surrounding this new moon energy. So that's also lending to the feeling of, wanting to change, wanting things to be reconditioned and revamped and revised, and all of those re-words, as we're still under some retrogrades, okay? I wanted to mention also, in terms of the inner child stuff that's been coming up for everybody, we are in Cancer season. Cancer season is always very sensitive. Whenever the sun moves into Cancer, it's just that time where it's, emotionally things get kicked up, kicked around. A lot of times it's centered, if not most of the time, it is centered around our family, because Cancer rules the 4th house, which is all about our family life, our foundations, our roots. It's where we come from. Now, family is also what we make and who we make, right? So, but typically under Cancer season, when I refer to this, it's about going back to the past, going back to the roots. And a lot of it centers around the mother, because Cancer rules the mother. Cancer is the mother of the zodiac. So you literally could be having things come up for you. And I know just from the people that I've been working with, we've been doing a lot of inner child healing. There's been a lot of things that have come up that needed to be cleared that perhaps someone wasn't even recognizing, was still really identifying who they were today and limiting them in some way. As human beings, we always tend to remember negative emotions and experiences more than the positive, because the negative ones, I guess, affect us on a deeper level and shape us and shape our perceptions of future events and relationships. And so in this energy, we're called back to those negative experiences to try to reroute the pattern, the trajectory, so that we don't have to keep repeating the same negative patterns over and over and over again. So when working with this new moon energy, rather than going into negative memories or a negative place, and this isn't just about your mother, okay? Because remember, mother is anybody that's mothered us, anybody that we have mothered, okay? Any maternal energy in our lives. When I say go back and look at positive memories, think about the positive. Think about the way you felt the most nurtured and the most safe, and try to take yourself back to that place and duplicate a situation in your life now where you can feel those emotions again, instead of constantly focusing on the negative, because it's easier, and the negative tends to take up more airtime because we remember the stuff that wounds us. It's harder to release it and let it go and focus on the positive. But under this energy, under Cancer season, that is when a lot of the childhood stuff kicks up. And, we're in a time period where that's very, very common, on top of the fact that it's Cancer season, on top of the fact of all of these planetary alignments that are not allowing us to get away without doing our work any longer, our soul work. And with this new moon being in Cancer, opposing Saturn and Pluto, it's asking us to strip away what doesn't work. And if we don't do it consciously, it's going to just keep happening unconsciously, and we're just going to keep tripping and stumbling because we need to release and clear in order to heal and move forward. So with Saturn always comes this level of tenacity and hard work. And with new moons are all about planning and planting seeds and getting things started and getting things moving and getting things going, projects, people, situations, all of that good stuff. And this one is not any different. It's still positive for all of that. However, because it's with Saturn, it kind of gives us that whoa, slow down, reframe, back up. There are still some restrictions. We even see it worldwide, right? There's still some things we cannot do, even though we want to push forward and push ahead. We're being stopped by the powers that be, right? But in your own life, in your personal world, it's kind of the same thing. It is the same thing, not kind of. It is the same thing. We are being asked to take our time, slow down. It's like the tortoise and the hare, I forgot the quote, but you know what I mean, not the early bird gets the worm. Oh, slow and steady wins the race, right? I'm a Taurus, so for me that's not a problem, but it's like when you slow down, you really digest and you do the work and you plot and you plan and you can see the finish line, you see the prize, you know what it is that you're going for. It just might take a little longer. Honestly, we're halfway through the year. This is like that point where you're really doing a review but an emotional review. And this is not something that you need to talk about with anybody other than a therapist or a trusted advisor, or you don't have to talk about it with anybody. But it is something to be conscious and aware of and journal about, and really go back to that place as the inner child and hold space for yourself and see what it is that you remember that's made you feel good, that's made you feel safe, that's made you feel nurtured and loved and important, and loving yourself enough to recognize those parts that you don't necessarily love, right? Because we all have the shadow side. And working through that as well to go back to the place where you first remember feeling that. I hope I'm making sense. I know I'm going off on my woo-woo tangent, but it's really important right now, guys, because the more we avoid, or the more we repress, right? The more we repress and the more we suppress, the more it persists, It's like what we resist persists. That's the way it goes. And at this point, it's like we're not really able to keep coasting and going under the radar. Things are coming up. And even if we choose to ignore it consciously, guess what? And I'm sure you all know this and you've had an experience with it, or many experiences like I have, when we try to gloss things over and avoid it because it's too painful, or we just, we feel like we're okay, and guess what? There's always another trigger that's going to come up and smack you back down and say, nope, this is still something you need to work through. taking you back. And so that is coming up right now. So use the new moon energy with the Saturn-Pluto opposition to really go deep psychologically and figure out what it is that you know in your soul needs to be revamped, reviewed, revised, revisited. I'm not going to say, redone, because everything is for a purpose, right? So we just might need to be working within the confines of what we have, like reworking what we've under the confines of where we've been working before. We might have to rework all of that. Anyway, I'm going to do a tarot card for this new moon. I also want to mention that Jupiter and Neptune are making a really nice sextile around this new moon, which is great for creative work, spiritual work, meditation, really going inward here. Lots of creativity flowing. So if you use that energy wisely, you could get a lot of good insight there, especially if you're a writer. If you do this kind of work. It's very inspirational at this time. Great. The Lovers, number 6. The Lovers is all about choice. So it's also a very spiritual, well, they're all spiritual, but it's also a very soul-driven card. This talks about knowing something deep within your soul, having a stirring deep within your soul about what it is that you need, what it is that you want, what it is you may have to do to get what it is that you want. And are you okay letting something go and never exploring that option? Because that's what this is about. This is, when I teach my tarot courses, the analogy I always use for the Lover's card, because a lot of people think it's about love, and it is to an extent, but it's also really about choice. That's the main thing. So it's almost like when you walk past, I always use this analogy, you walk past a puppy store, and you go past it every day, and there's this cute little puppy, and it's in the window, and it always looks at you, and you walk by, and you're like, oh man, that puppy's so cute. I love that puppy. It looks like it's speaking to me. I feel like I need that puppy. I just feel a connection to that puppy. But yet your logical brain, your logic is saying, but I don't have time for a dog. I work, 72 hours or whatever it is. I work too much. I'm not home. I'm on long shifts. I have nobody to help me with the dog. But then every time you go past that store, there's that dog. And months go by and there's that dog. And so it's like this big choice that you have to make. Not to use a dog. I mean, dogs are people too, right? But it's like this huge choice you have to make about getting a dog will alter your reality. It's like having a child. So, it's a big decision that you have to make. And so with the Lover's card, that could be pertaining to a relationship in your life, a soulmate relationship, whether it's romantic or a friend. It could be a really important job or move across the country that could completely alter the trajectory of your life, right? That's what the Lovers is. So this is a very karmic time that we are under right now. It's not a surprise that a major card came up for that because, like I said, if we're avoiding certain things, whether it's conscious or unconscious, the universe is going to step in and be like, no, you have to deal with this because we need you to change course here. And so it might be forced upon you to make a decision that you in your soul know that you've been either avoiding making for whatever the reasons, or you just need that push, right? You just need that push. You just have to make the changes. They're not going to be easy, but with the Lover's card and with this energy, the changes are necessary to get you on your path, and you'll never know unless you take that risk and make the choices that need to be made to get you where you need to go. I hope that made sense. My links are below if you'd like to schedule a private consultation. All of my work is linked there, and the Chiron video is there, like I mentioned earlier. I hope you are all taking really good care of yourselves. I also want to mention stomach stuff because Cancer is all about the belly, right? We're purging. Also, on a deep, deep level, emotional, psychological gunk, right? We're purging, healing, feeling, dealing. So with that comes stomach disturbances because it's energy and energy gets trapped. And when we start to release things and remove those blockages, you could have some intestinal disturbances, okay? Also, sleep patterns are being disrupted right now. So just take extra care, drink your water like I always say. I know I sound like a broken record. Meditate. go for walks, you know, just have some quiet time for reflection. It really does help. You can just put your hands on your belly when you start to feel like, you know, stuck energy, and just keep it there. Whatever it is that you can do to keep things moving in the body is always a plus right now, because like I said, there is like a deep purge taking place emotionally, which then goes physically, spiritually, it's all connected. All right, guys, so I will be back soon with a new video. Take good care of yourselves. Bye.